What were you doing at 14 years old? Well, Preston was working on the latest Spider-Man movie in Hollywood. This is the incredible true story of Preston Mutanga, a 14-year-old Canadian kid with a passion for Lego. His father saw his potential, did some research and discovered Blender, a free and open source 3D software. He installed it on the family computer and encouraged his son to give it a shot. And that's when everything clicked. A completely free 3D animation software with thousands of tutorials and resources available online for free. Preston instantly became obsessed. To learn, he did what almost every Blender artist does. He watched YouTube tutorials. Of course, the beginning wasn't easy. He was only 14. But he kept going, and that's what really matters. He didn't just become good at 3D. Then one day, he recreated the entire Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer, shot for shot, using Blender. He uploaded the video to Twitter. Within days, it went viral. And that's not even the craziest part. The directors of the real Spider-Man movie came across his animation without knowing who had made it. They reached out to him and discovered something unbelievable. The artist behind this incredible animation was only 14, and after talking with the production team, they invited Preston to work on the actual movie. He created one of the film scene in Blender. I imagine there was also a promotional angle behind it. It perfectly matched Spider-Man's message: anyone can be a hero. A teenager learning Blender on the family computer, watching YouTube tutorials, posting a video on Twitter, getting noticed by the producers of Spider-Man, and ending up working on the movie itself. That's an unbelievable story. So what exactly makes Preston's animation so good? What can we learn from them? The first thing that stands out is that Preston animates on twos. Instead of updating the animation every frame, he changes the pose every other frame. The result is a slightly choppy motion that perfectly matches the stop motion aesthetic. It's also a much faster workflow. For the animation itself, I was surprised to discover that it uses a technique I never tried before: keyframe recording. Instead of manually placing every keyframe, he records the movement live while dragging the objects with his mouse. It creates animation that feels organic and natural and full of life. It's almost like playing with real Lego bricks, except inside a 3D world. For building his assets, he uses the MetaBricks add-on, which automatically generates Lego bricks. As for the texturing, I don't exactly know how he achieved it, but I can make an educated guess. Plastic can look a little too perfect in CGI. So he had subtle fingerprints and tiny imperfections across the bricks. Whether he used procedural textures, texture nodes, or simply mixed a few shaders together, the effect works incredibly well. For the lighting and compositing, two things really caught my attention. First, volumetric lighting. It makes the light itself visible and instantly gives the scene a much more cinematic look. I also thought it was pretty funny that during his Blender conference, he thanked Blender Guru for introducing him to IES lights. If you don't know what those are, IES lights are scans of real-world light profiles. They produce much more believable lighting than a regular point light. There's also a beautiful contrast in his work. The characters move with a stop-motion style, while the backgrounds are rendered with realistic lighting and textures. That contrast gives his animation a very distinctive look. Everything feels coherent. The style, the simplicity, the stop-motion animation. Preston was even invited to give an official talk at the Blender meetup. And one thing really surprised me, not the fact that he was giving a conference at 14, but the way he introduced himself. Not as a 3D animator, but as a YouTuber. And I think that changes everything. He's growing up in a completely different world than we did. Today, you learn on the internet, you publish on the internet, and you're discovered because of the internet. Platforms like YouTube are no longer just a portfolio. They've become the entire playground, from learning to creating to even getting hired. In 2026, the rules have changed. Preston isn't an isolated case. David F. Sandberg, the director of Lights Out, Annabelle, and later Shazam, was also discovered through the internet. Long before Hollywood, he was making tiny horror films on YouTube with almost no budget. One of them, Lights Out, went viral. It caught the attention of Hollywood producers, who invited him to turn it into a feature film. That movie launched his career. Just a few years later, he was directing major studio productions. Another reminder that today, a single video uploaded on the internet can completely change your life. Mostly free learning resources and free platforms where anyone can share their work with the world. Creators like Corey Williams, Martin Kleckner, or Ginzil Balodis. I truly believe we're witnessing the birth of a new generation of self-taught artists. People who are taking advantage of an opportunity that has never existed before. And honestly, I hope the next one is one of you.